Video on doing something with this cooking bacon. So I've been faffing around with a few other things. I'm going to mispronounce it, but it's a German dish called Rouladen, and it's battered out beef, which you then brush on some mustard and some. Oh, I've got some mustard. That's okay. And then some onions, like sauteed onions, and then you roll it up and slow braise it in a beef stock until it falls to bits, meltingly tender. It's delicious. I didn't think it was going to be, but it is. So then I kind of thought, oh, that's really kind of an interesting idea. I thought, could we do it with minced beef instead? So I kind of thought probably not, because the mince will want to fall to bits. But what we can do is we can take. We can bind the mince together with some eggs and some breadcrumbs, so it's more like a meatball kind of mixture, and then brush it with some mustard and with some sauteed onions, roll it up, slow braise it in the oven, and it worked, and it was delicious. And then I was kind of thinking, well, that's all very kind of well, but can we do it even kind of quite cheaper? Because mince is. I bought some mince today. So 750 grams worth of beef mince is about £5.50, something like that. But cooking bacon is cheaper than that. Cooking bacon is now got up in price, so it's £2 per kilo. So I was kind of thinking, can we make some bacon mince, like mince it up, and then bind it with an egg and some leftover bread from some breadcrumbs. And then do the kind of same, but obviously we're using bacon. Bacon doesn't kind of sit well with like a beef stock type of thing, so we can cook it in some tomatoes instead, so it will have more of a Mediterranean type of feel to it. But obviously there's no mustard in the they don't really use mustard in the Mediterranean, do they? It's more of a Northern European type of thing, is mustard, I seem to think. But anyway, so that's my plan. Oh yeah, these are just, I was making some croutons for, it's mushrooms on toast. So it's not really mushrooms on toast, it was creamy mushrooms on a crouton. These are all the kind of offcuts of bread which I've just dried out. So we don't like food waste, so we'll be able to use those as the breadcrumbs. So, now, another thing I've got to remember is that this cooking bacon is, I need 200 grams of it for something else. But I'm going to use the 800 grams. So I've got to remember that the cooking bacon, more moisture comes out of it than other meat. I once had an argument with my dad about this. That I thought it was. He said that they injected pork to turn it into bacon with water, so they could charge more for it. So you were basically charged. For example, out of the kilo that you buy, maybe 10% of it, 100 grams, is water, and they were getting away with charging you for the water that they injected in it. But as I got a little bit older, you realise that they make bacon by injecting it with a saline solution. It's not like a dry cured bacon. It's a wet cure in which they inject it with a saline solution, so it turns into bacon quicker. And I just kind of thought, well, that's just like a happenstance of the process. They're not getting away with charging you for the water. It's just something that once they've injected the saline solution into it, they can't kind of take it out. And even though you're getting charged for the water that's in it, they can't charge you for bacon where all the like low quality bacon. They can't charge you the same price as high quality bacon for it. So I was like, but anyway, those arguments that I used to have with my father about ridiculous things that probably were both kind of right. Well, mind you, the what we call it, I would say that as I've got older, I realised that people are unscrupulous. So maybe that's exactly what their plan was, to charge you for water instead of for meat. But I think price dictates, doesn't it? Like, people are only willing to pay so much for something, and not all the water kind of. If you're ripping people off, then people stop buying your bacon, don't they? So it's not actually in your best interest. But anyway, so there's more water that's going to come out of that. So we might just have to put a little bit more breadcrumbs in, and then I've got 2 eggs, two small eggs. These are, it's not actually the right ones, but these are from mixed size eggs, and so these are kind of quite smaller than those are large. You can just see the difference. So those are kind of like more like medium or small eggs, as opposed to these eggs that I bought for myself from the market today, which are large. I would say they're more like extra large, if you see the difference there. So can we do a comparison between all 3? Don't know why I'm showing this. So if you look, like that's those, like they say, there's not that much difference between those, but there's certainly a difference between that. Where those are supposed to be large, I don't think they are. But anyway, so we're going to use 2 eggs in it, and we'll up the amount of breadcrumb that we put in. But anyway, this video's getting far too long. I will saute those off. I will mince those, turn it into and combine it with some eggs and the breadcrumbs, and then we're back at that stage when we're going to roll it up and cook it in the tomatoes. I'll make a rough tomato sauce, so a bit more a case of tomatoes with a bit of onion in. Oh, we might. Oh yeah, and we're going to put some cheese in a few of them as well, aren't we? We're going to do a big version and a small version, and we're going to put some cheese in as well. So I think it'll be like a cheese and onion for the filling, and we've got some chives in the garden, so we might put some chives in as well. But I need to get to the stage where I'm actually doing something rather than just talking, because I have taken half the mixture and I've rolled it out flat. You can't really see it because it's on some paper, but it's definitely there. And then it was a kilo of onions, which I've just sliced and cooked down. So did I say there was 500 grams worth of the mixture? Yeah, 500 grams worth of the mixture. So, no, I forgot to. I bought some mustard and specialty as well, didn't I? Oh, do you know? Shall we start the video again? No, because it's important to show that we make mistakes in life, and we can rectify them. We can rectify them. So, wipe your hands. Grab a spoon, grab the mustard. I think the mustard will be an essential part of this. And I was thinking, you could just use sausage meat and mix an egg into it. That's what I was kind of thinking. I think you get the same kind of result, especially if you were to use the sausages that you get in the UK, which already have some kind of rusk stroke breadcrumbs in them. I don't know what the difference between rusk and breadcrumbs are. Don't know. I'm not going to look it up either. I just think rusk is probably dried breadcrumbs. Although I do know something interesting. I know that there's a factory near me that, well, a bakery, and what they do is they bake bread to turn into breadcrumbs. So they actually go through the trouble of baking bread to turn it into breadcrumbs, rather than just using old bread, old stale bread, and turning that into breadcrumbs. They actually bake bread and then turn that bread into breadcrumbs. Isn't that fascinating? Seems like a silly way around to do things. So, let's take half-ish of the sautéed onions. I just did them a little bit of beef fat, but any kind of fat or oil that you've got. So that's that. Maybe it's a third. And then I'll chop some chives, because they're in the garden, therefore they're free, and it means I don't have to buy any parsley or anything like that. I want to leave a gap around the outside so we can crimp it as kind of such. I'm not entirely sure this will work with a big one, but it might work with a little one. So it might, because of the nature of the bacon being kind of quite wet, it might want to split open. More risk of that if it is a big one that we're using. That seems a bit. I'll roll it from this end because this end looks a little bit thinner. So yeah, should have maybe oiled the paper before we started. I'm sure we'll be fine. Once again, it's important to show our mistakes in life, isn't it? So, what do I need? I've got a palette knife. Yes. Just to tease it a little bit more. There we go. That's a bit better, isn't it? I'll do the same with the others. I'll do some just plain onion, and we'll do some. Oh, I was going to put some cheese in as well, wasn't I? Do you know, I'm having a bad day. I'll pause. I'm not having a bad day. It's just been a really hot day, and I've been busy, and I've been swimming, and it's getting late, and I'm working tomorrow, and I kind of thought by the time I finished work and got home and gone swimming, I won't have time to kind of do this tomorrow. It's best off that I do it now and I can put it in the oven before I go swimming. That's my plan anyway. So, not too much cheese. That'll do. And then roll it up. Yeah, probably would have been better slightly oiling the paper, but not to worry. That'll work. So, it's split there. This is why I don't make short videos. And that's going to split open, is that? Not to worry. So, let's do that. Let's just, I'll clean the board afterwards, but let's just roly. Fold that in there, and it's like that. Now, we'll put that on in an oven-proof dish of some description, and we'll give that a bake in some tomato sauce. Now, I'll use up the onions that I've got here, and then we'll put the rest of the onions into the tomatoes. And just I won't make the tomato sauce beforehand. I think it'll be in the oven long enough that it will kind of form its own kind of tomato sauce in the oven. I think that'll be a better way to do it, rather than cook the tomatoes down, turn them into a sauce, and then cook that in the sauce. I think we'll just cook it in the tomatoes, and flavours from that will permeate into the tomatoes, and they'll concentrate down and form tomato sauce that way. I think that will be for the best. So the next bit of the video will be me sticking it in the oven. Had about 3 hours at 150. So I need a knife just to stick in it. So this is the one that was 3. So it should be. That feels nice and tender, doesn't it? Feels nice and tender. They haven't split apart. So I'm going to say that's ready. So let's have a look at the other one as well. So the big one, and then we'll knock up a bit of polenta. That was so. Yes, I was thinking while I was at work. My only concern with this is that because we've used cooking bacon, that it might be a little bit salty. So I didn't put any salt in the tomatoes. That's my only concern about this. No, it's not too salty. We'll see what the bacon's like though. So, now cover it up. And then have a look at the bigger one. That looks alright. That looks like it's tender all the way through, and it hasn't broken apart. But see all those cracks there, all that is just the tomato sauce that I put on top and all over. How's that tomato sauce taste? Is that just juice? I think that's just juice. Yeah, that's just juice. There's no fat in that. Yeah, sauce is good. It didn't need reducing down. Just cooking it around the bacon thingy-majiggy was enough to reduce it enough. So I'll make up some polenta and then we'll give it a taste. Right, I got sidetracked. Let's cut into, and we've lost the light in the cooker as well. Not to worry. So, I've got soap on my hands from washing up. straight in half, I think, and let's have a look. That's lovely, it's that one. What was in that one? Mustard and just onions, I think. So there we go, so that's got the chives in. Oh, going alright. Lift them up to the camera. Oh, look alright, don't they? Right, taste. Need to blow my nose first. Right, so make a mess of it, won't I? It's certainly held together and it's certainly kept a spiral, so we know that it works. Now the only thing is if it's not too salty. No, not too salty. That's delicious, is that? That's delicious. I mean, a little bit impractical if you haven't got a mincer, but you can buy those hand cranked mincers. I've seen 2 in charity shops recently. That's lovely, is that? That's lovely. So, did the big one hold together? I'm sure it did. No, we'll just cut off the end. Easier to lift, won't it? There we go. That one worked, didn't it? So there we go. That's delicious. That's a success, and that's going to be really cheap as well, isn't it? It's like a really cheap meal. Certainly with cooking bacon. Cooking bacon, onion, breadcrumbs, an egg, a couple of tins of tomato sauce. That's going to be really cheap. Anyway, I might do a costing. We'll see. But that's delicious. I thoroughly recommend you have a go. If you don't want to mince bacon, just buy some normal minced pork, and it'll work with that just as well, or a mixture of mince and pork and mince. But there we go. That's delicious.